international businesses, to the businesses as such, and to individuals who work as employees for such companies, and also for economies wherein such kind of businesses progress, right? Um, and yeah, we spoke about how the organizational hierarchical structure is going to look like for an international business, right? Like with the headquarters in the main country or the place wherein the company was established. From there, it will have subsidiaries or units across various countries over the globe, right? And in today's session, we are going to talk about various challenges and global issues with respect to international HR. So let us talk about drivers of international businesses. Like what facilitates a business to grow internationally? First thing is higher profit rates. This is a very, uh, directly proportionate statement. Like as the businesses keep expanding in terms of product lines, in terms of volume of services provided, and in terms of various places wherein the business operates from, the profit margins obviously increase, is it not? So, for any business, if it is trying to expand its roots into international market, the first and foremost agenda of it would be profit expansion or profit enhancement, right? And second thing is cost of production. See, the cost of production of many businesses, many industries is so high that you look for investors across, right? So, uh, if I am planning to set up one of my business units in some other country, right? So, in an attempt to lower the production costs, what do? I see, suppose my headquarters is in India, okay, and I have set up a few units across various parts of UK, US, UAE, okay, and do you think since India is my headquarters, I'm going to have my one and only manufacturing unit in India, and from India, I would be exporting all the goods to different parts of the world? No, right? So, what I do is I will be setting up manufacturing units at wherever places I open my unit or subsidiary at. Is it not? This is to minimize the production cost and also to make sure you are able to provide affordable products without compromising with the quality of the goods or services of it, right? And also competition. See, globalization has provided a platform for businesses to compete in a healthy way against each other. And this competition has led to much more diversification of products and services. Is it not? Another driver is limited home market. Imagine a company that is operating in its parent country. Since it's its expansion or its capability to generate income or earnings in a local market is relatively less compared to its earnings in an international market. Is it not? See, as simple as that. For example, the price of dollar in terms of Indian currency, there's a huge difference, is it not? So you earn in rupees, and if you're working for US or any other country, you earn in the currency of that particular country wherein you are working, is it not? So uh, this earnings in terms of, for example, for somebody who's earning 2 to 3 lakhs per month in India, might be earning probably 4 or 5 times more, right? In countries, depending on the country wherein the person is working. Is it not? Of course, the tax and all also need to be considered. That's a different thing. But then the earnings and the volume of, compensation and remuneration that a person gets paid usually is higher in the international market compared to local market. And this is another reason why businesses try to expand themselves in the international market. Another thing is technology, right? I think yesterday, acha, let us take our own example, right? So, the contemporary style of taking a class is the student and teacher physically being present in the class and the lecture being dealt with in person. Is it not? But technology has facilitated education. See, education, I'm just trying to give our own example. Likewise, we have many other industries or fields, the software companies. There'll be a team of 10 people, and all these 10 people could be joining the call from 10 different countries, right? And all these people from 10 different countries will be sharing their opinions, will be connecting on calls, will be working on, a project. So there's a lot that goes that that goes into, though people are actually, sitting across different parts of the world, they're still able to connect, they're still able to communicate, exchange knowledge and ideas, and then work on projects together. Is it not? Like, I am at a place, and all you people who have, who are pursuing the course could be now at different locations, but all of us have a common platform to connect and interact. Is it not? And this is because of technology. Technology has facilitated every industry to cross coordinate, right? So the channels of cross coordination communication have been very well established thanks to technology. Is it not? I think I remember I gave you an example of how medicine, from a point wherein if people would get any infection, their legs or hands would be amputated. We are at a point where robots are performing surgeries on patients, right? And then raw materials. Okay. Any idea about why is the reason behind industries being set up, close to, for example, automobile industries usually will be closely constructed to iron mining or iron ore mining, sites. Any reason for that? That's because the transportation cost can be brought down if there is an accessibility to raw materials for the manufacturing. So most of the industries do set up their manufacturing units in a place that has quite an approachable accessibility to the raw materials. Okay. So if I'm setting up a manufacturing unit, do you think I'll be taking care of my transportation accessibility? Definitely. I wouldn't be setting up my manufacturing unit at a place that does not have accessibility to transportation. Is it not? So availability of raw materials is another driver. Another thing is globalization. See, we are not confining ourselves to borders anymore. Is it not? So all of us are showing enthusiasm to work across borders within the country, across states, across various countries over, there's a lot of globalization and diversification of workforce that is happening of late. And this is another driver behind international business optimization. Okay. What is meant by a MNC? MNC is a multinational company. Okay. What does it mean? I think the name is self-explanatory. Multinational company. So, all the operational activities of the company, right, are spread across various units, right? Of course, with a single headquarters in the center, all these units have one single headquarters, and various units or subsidiaries spread across the country or across countries, right? So let us talk about evolution of MNCs. First, they start at a domestic level, right? For example, let us take Tata. Tata started in India, right? And that we called a domestic stage. From there, it went to international stage, which means extending their market capacities into one or two countries or limited options. From there, it entered into a multinational stage wherein it just not confined itself to one or two countries, but it has expanded its roots to various countries, right? And last is the global stage where it is a true global partner, and it is catering to the needs of various categories of population across the globe, right? So from a domestic stage, any business first enters into an international stage, right? And from there, it becomes a multinational company. And from a multinational company, it becomes a global company wherein it operates across. It means at a global stage, the company has its units or subsidiaries across every important business corner of the world, right? Which is why you call it as a global company. So I hope I'm clear with these four stages: domestic stage, international stage, multinational stage, and global stage. Okay. And there are various modes of entry for businesses. There are various modes of entry for businesses. Let us see all various modes. First is direct exporting. You see businesses directly exporting their products, right, to another overseas market, like or to say spices. Major exporter of spices. India is one among the major exporter of spices. Of course, paddy, right? And tea. So there are various categories of FMCG goods that India is into exporting for a while. And then licensing and franchising. You all know about franchising, right? So you will be, taking responsibility of running an already established unit of a business, right? So the name of the unit, everything remains. You take the responsibility of running an already established unit, and you will be sharing the returns, right? So licensing and franchising have various terms and conditions upon which businesses operate, and based on the terms and regulations that businesses agree upon, the percentage of profits or shares will be discussed, right? This is with licensing and franchising, right? And the third mode of entry is joint venture. Now, you all must have studied about joint venture in your business economics. What is meant by joint venture? Two businesses together, right, operate as one and share profits and losses, right? So this is called joint venture. So companies, they usually, when they're trying to enter into international market, they pick an international business company, and they try to uh, enter into an agreed contract with them, right? So both of these companies, from one from the local market and one from the international market, will be together venturing jointly into the market and will together be providing services or products, whatever they wanted to as per their business strategy. And both the companies will be together sharing losses or profits. And the next one is strategic acquisition. See, you all must have heard about the term acquisition. What is meant by acquisition? Acquiring a company, right? So, acquisitions generally, a pre existing company will be acquired, right? In a foreign country, if there is a pre existing company, the company from the domestic market will try acquiring the company from the foreign market, and you will be using your name, your company's name, in the place of the acquired company's name to run the business. And there's another thing called FDI. So people from finance background could must have heard about this term very often. FDI, foreign direct investment. So every business, every country has certain regulations with respect to investments that come from foreign countries, right? And for healthcare, India enables 100% FDIs. So what are these FDIs basically? You welcome foreign investors to invest into your local business. So that is FDI. Okay. So FDIs are a source of generating financial support to existing businesses. Okay. And lastly is wholly owned subsidiaries, which means this company that's operating in the local market will buy, right? Will buy and own another company in a foreign market, right? So this is different from acquiring. How is it different from acquiring? In acquiring, so you acquire and establish things, but set up your own branch of your company in a foreign country. Okay. So in acquisition, you take over an already existing company and replace the name of the already existing company in your name and you run the business. Whereas in wholly owned subsidiary, you set up your own unit in a foreign country where you are the complete owner of it, and you're not going to replace any name because you are straight away setting up the business in your own name. Okay. So these are various modes of entry for businesses into international market. Directly exporting goods, franchising, joint ventures, acquisitions, foreign direct investments, and wholly owned subsidiaries. Clear with this? Okay. So, see, all these what we are talking about are in context of business. Let us be specific to HRM. Okay. So, to understand these international concepts of business management, there are certain theories that talk about cross cultural communication, cross cultural exchange of beliefs and knowledge. So, let us see all that. Okay. So, first of all, there is a model called Hofstede's model. Okay. So, as I think we spoke about this aspect yesterday, every country has its own set of cultural beliefs and values, is it not? So, uh, suppose I'm an Indian and I get to work for a company in UAE, I am bound to respect the cultural beliefs and values of the country wherein I am working for. The same way, somebody from UAE, when they come to India, they are supposed to be respecting and upholding the cultural values and beliefs of the country wherein they are working or their companies are, right? So, in this context, there are certain cross cultural theories. Of course, everything has its positive side and negative side. When people from different nationalities and countries come together to work under one roof, of course, it's a very great idea. This diversification of knowledge, there is more of information exchange that happens, right? But then equally, there are certain disadvantages as well because it's not very easy for people to absorb the culture of a different country. You brought up for 25 years, and then it took close to 24 years for you to absorb your own country's beliefs. And then all of a sudden, you go to a foreign country and you are completely new to the values and beliefs over there. And it's impossible for anybody to immediately absorb the beliefs and traditions and cultural values and get aligned with them. It takes some time, is it not? So, in this phase of transition, is wherein you see a lot of conflicts being generated. And as said, if conflicts or grievances arise, there is a higher possibility for them to be having an impact on the productivity of the employee, right? So it makes no difference, no, you being in India or going to a foreign country, if you're not, you know, absorbing the values and cultural beliefs of the country wherein you're working for, it becomes a challenge for you in the long run, is it not? So, of course, the space of translation usually is time taking, but once you are, in line or in alignment with the with the beliefs and cultural values shared, it becomes easy for you to get along with other people of a different nationality. Is it not? Let us talk about Hofstede's model. Hofstede's model, it's a cultural analysis theory explained by George Hofstede. So what did he speak about? He says members hold various values and these values relate to behavior. And of course, see, all our behaviors reflect our beliefs. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So all our beliefs reflect, sorry, our behavior usually reflects the beliefs and cultures and traditions that we are being brought up. Do you believe in this? Just give me a second. Give me a second. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, do you all agree with the statement which I said, like our behaviors depend on the beliefs and cultures that we share and
Yes,
come
ma'am.
from? Is it not? So, each and every individual, see, for example, in India, we have various religions, and all of us, of course, we belong to a country, but all of us share different cultural beliefs and traditions, is it not? So, no single culture has the same beliefs and traditions. Of course, there may be some similarity, but more or less, you will have different cultural beliefs and traditions in each of the culture. Is it not? So, within a single country, there are hundreds of cultures, and each of us, some are vegetarian, some are non-vegetarians. In vegetarian category, there's a different category like you take Buddhism, Jainism, Christianity. So you have different, what's say, religions, and all these religions share, or all these cultures share various behavioral patterns. Is that not?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
this is with respect to one single country. Imagine people from various countries coming under a roof and working together. It'll be more challenging, is it not? For us, suppose there is a group of, friend. There. You have two people, a vegetarian and non-vegetarian. Imagine them sitting together for having food. Their food choices are different. The preferences would be varying, right? And sometimes, probably, when the non vegetarian guy orders his food, the vegetarian guy could be, right? A bit not comfortable, may not be very much comfortable with the food choices what the non-vegetarian guy must have ordered, is it not? Imagine within a country, if you know, if there is such greater variation in the cultural beliefs and traditions, what would happen to people who cross borders and go to different places? Is it not? You must have heard about your friends who traveled abroad talking about cultural, uh, you know, transformation. Or you must have personally observed your friends transforming a lot in terms of their behavior when they have traveled abroad. That's because they are molding themselves in alignment with the values, be it in terms of business or anything. They're just trying to align themselves with the values and ethics of the country or the place wherein they are currently working. Okay. So this is called as cultural shift. Technically, there is a term called as cultural shift, right? So Hofstede model speaks about the same thing, cultural shift. This Hofstede insists that every individual is expected to show variation in behavior depending on the cultural beliefs and values he or she has been brought up. Okay. And he says that there are four dimensions along which culture based value systems could be analyzed. First is power distance, right? What is power distance? What is power distance? See the
One.
relationship between superior and subordinates. The relationship between superiors and subordinates is called as power distance. See, when you are in a higher authoritative role, do you tend to execute more authority over your subordinates? Is it not? At a
Yes.
higher managerial level, usually, most of the people, you know, execute bureaucracy. है ना?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, they tend to take the power or authority, whatever comes as a privilege by virtue of their position in the organization upon the subordinates. Okay. And second thing is individualism versus collectivism, the degree to which societies are closely knit into groups, right? For example, if you take collectivism in India, most of the people, irrespective of their religions, come forward for certain common national festivals, is it not? All of us together celebrate Republic Day, Independence Day, and certain festivals as well, is it not?
Yes, madam.
You don't restrict yourself to your religion, and then you share your religious practices among your friends and dear ones who do not belong to the same religion of yours, but still they tend to participate in certain communal religious practices, is it not? We see that very often happening. But this is called as collectivism. And the next is individualism. What is meant by individualism? People with individualism they don't like to operate in groups. They don't believe in the concept of group goals, and they always want to achieve everything individually without collaborating with a team or a group. Okay. So this is individualism versus collectivism. And the third is uncertainty avoidance index. What is meant by uncertainty? Uncertainty ante ambiguity, or you're not clear exactly what is going to be the final result. Hmm? In countries with high uncertainty avoidance score, what does it mean? Uncertainty avoidance score.
Which is not clear even, madam.
Ah, when we are not sure about a particular thing, what do you do? See, what will help you achieve expected outcomes? A plan of action. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you go by a plan of action, you're sure to receive. That's what we do in research, right? You devise a conceptual framework and then you propose the expected outcomes. So when you have a plan of action on how to do, on what to do, you will be sure to achieve the expected results or outcomes. Okay. So this is called as uncertainty avoidance index. So countries with high uncertainty avoidance index score, they have strict rules and regulations, right? When you have strict laid down rules and regulations, you're sure to follow them, and there's no point that you tend to miss on anything, right? So when things go as per the plan, you don't call it uncertainty. When you're not knowing how are you progressing or what way the thing is taking, you would be uncertain. But when you clearly set up or when you clearly lay down rules and regulations and go as per them, it's very obvious that you would go for rigid rules and regulations. Okay. And next thing is masculinity and masculinity versus femininity. Right? What is this masculinity? Each of these two traits are associated with certain behavioral characteristics. Like, masculinity usually is associated with assertiveness. Is it not? Which means assertiveness in the sense, what is meant by being assertive?
Hmm.
No matter what, you are bound to achieve results, right? So you're least bothered about humanitarian relations. If a work is assigned to a person, he has to complete it no matter what, right? So assertiveness is being very rigid in terms of rules or policies or regulations, right? So masculinity is usually associated with high levels of assertiveness. In contrary, femininity usually, it is, I am not generalizing, but as per Hofstede's theory, feminism is usually not very much concerned with assertiveness, right? And also, feminism do not encourage, does not encourage controlling others, right? And the concern in femininity is more about quality of life, whereas in masculinity, the concern is more about quantity of outputs delivered. So, much is making a difference. And next is long term orientation, short term orientation. Yeah. See, if you belong to a cultural background for a longer period of time, the impact of that place's cultural beliefs and traditions would be more on you, is it not? So I've been born and brought up in uh, in a particular place. You tend to absorb the cultural beliefs of that place quite deeper compared to you, coming to a place very recently. Suppose, see, somebody has come from, hello,
Yes, madam.
yeah, see, somebody who has come from a remote village, right? Let us take from the southernmost uh, part of the country, right? So somebody who came from there would be imbibing and absorbing all the cultural beliefs of that place because he's been born and brought up there. And he comes to a place like Hyderabad. It takes some time for him to adjust to the cultural shift. is it not? So
Yes.
that adjusting to the cultural shift takes some time. Probably in an year or two, I'll get used to all the beliefs and practices of the place wherein I am currently working, is it not? So this transition of long time and short time orientation will make a lot of difference in the behavior of people, right? See, let me give you a very casual example. A decade back when I came to Hyderabad, I mean, I come from Andhra Pradesh, so it was very difficult for me to understand the language as well, right? And Hyderabadi Telugu has got a mix of Hindi kind of accent, which was initially difficult for me. And then uh, maybe a year or two, I got used to it, and then I started understanding every single word spoken to me. And then slowly, initially, I had a lot of transition happening in this aspect of culture, and um, had to deal with it. It was challenging for me, but then by 1 or 2 years I understood, and then my beliefs, values and behaviors started taking alignment with the place that I've been. It's been almost a decade or more than that, and then I completely understand the slang. I initially the food and all was also new to me, and then now I enjoy this cuisine as well. That's what we say. See, it takes some time for any person to get aligned with the cultural shift, right? So this is the phase wherein you tend to develop conflicts. And as a HR manager, if you understand this transition and what challenges the transition has got to do with people, it becomes easy for you to manage conflicts and grievances. It's what long-term orientation and short-term orientation, right? So somebody who's coming to Hyderabad, I mean, who shifted to Hyderabad very recently, for them it takes little longer time for them to adjust to this cultural shift. Since I've been here for more than a decade, I've got used to it, and there's nothing like cultural shift and all for me now. Is it not?
Yes, madam.
So that is Hofstede model. So he says power distance, individualism and collectivism, masculinity and femininity, long term orientation and short term orientation, indulgence and restraint. See, some will be very outspoken. Furthermore, some people, by nature, they are the initiators. They don't wait for somebody to give them work or give them orders. They themselves understand what the work is and go ahead with the process flows. Whereas other people, they restrain themselves, and they wait for people to assign work to them. Only then they would be leading the work. So all these are different behavioral patterns that will have an impact on the cultural transition that people generally are subjected to when they move from local borders to international borders. Okay, I hope I'm clear with this theory.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So, mm yeah, uh, we'll break for today.
Yes, madam. Sure.
Yeah. So, how many people as such are enrolled into this HRM specialization now? Because I see very limited participants.
Madam,
You don't
almost there were like almost 200 members for this 2022 and 24 batch, madam. Particularly, I don't know about the specialization based on the.
Acha, acha.
Maybe
All
only
right.
we will be having 40 to 50 members, I guess, madam. But no one is joining the classes.
You don't have any attendance compulsion?
No, madam. University will be conducting the classes. Only the facility need to avail by the students. So there is no such attendance thing in this open university system, madam.
Acha, acha. All right, all right. I'll then connect the next week. Okay.
Yeah, sure, madam. Thank you, madam.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye, madam. Have a good day.
Thank you, ma. Bye bye.